It is May 18th, 2019. Bitcoin is breaking out, and we're just jumping in live with absolutely no preparation. Let's do the intro. And the usual few seconds to look at the disclaimer, pause it, read it. It's awesome. It took me a while to read it. And let's jump right in. Bitcoin is breaking out. Fantastic formation here. And I wanted to do this live stream so that I could document and record the indicators that I'm studying, and then I can take a look at what is going on with the altcoins at the same time. This is the 1 minute bar view, and this was a nail biter as prices were coming down to this breakout level, or sell level, the breakdown area of this ascending wedge triangle. They're always a nail biter, this ascending wedge triangle. If I zoom out to the 5 minute bar, look at that. Crazy. It's always a nail biter as this is building up. As this pattern is building up, if I go to the 30-minute view and get this to load properly, as this ascending wedge triangle is building up, it looks like it's going to dump, then it looks like it's going to burst higher, then it looks like it's going to dump it. So people are buying and selling. And the ascending wedge triangle is a really tough one to trade. Now it's finally taking off, and we can see that Ethereum US dollar is breaking out of its ascending wedge triangle. XLM, Stellar Lumens, Litecoin versus US dollar are all breaking out of this ascending wedge triangle right now. We'll dig into some more indicators so that I can document it for later, but here are the same charts, similar time frame, using Bitcoin US dollar, and then Bitcoin again, the Litecoin, Ethereum, and Stellar against the US dollar. Sorry, against Bitcoin. I'm busy watching and trading the market while I'm talking about it here. So these are potential top formations as Bitcoin's taking off. That means Bitcoin dominance. Great to see you stream. Hey, good to have you here at Crypto Investments. Let me get this shared on the Discord chat too. All right. Back to the charts. Here is the same chart, Bitcoin, looking at the US dollar and Ichimoku clouds. Getting into the cloud, watching things as they're breaking out, paying attention to the technical levels as it's breaking out of those key areas. Hey, Sohail, we have Anne Sobai is here. I'm doing well tonight, and thank you for joining. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. I don't have a structure for tonight's stream at all. Things are breaking out. I just wanted to take a look at it. Here is a commentary from earlier. As this market was making a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and breaking out. Here is one of my entries and where I had to get out of this trade because it wasn't proving me correct. It was coming back and threatening the profit I had too much, so I got out. And then I floated around here and I put the trade back on. And right now, it's not doing very well. So this is not a good thing to see what is going on with the alts versus Bitcoin, as Bitcoin is just taking off right now. I want to take a look at some more of the alts. I have the Poloniex margin traded markets open right now. So this is BitShares versus Bitcoin, and it is being pressured downward. Clam, how are you doing? A little bit of down at the top there. What are Bitcoin's current prediction? Up, up, and away. I am a mega bull with Bitcoin, way more bullish than most people are wanting to admit. And I think a lot of people are hoping for it, and it's impossible. we're going to be hitting impossible levels in the weeks to come. And in between this kind of run up, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be easy. As we start zooming in on this and we start to see how this can be destructive for people who have a long position on and their stop loss set back at perfect protective levels, even deep protective stop losses are at risk of these kind of movements. And we're going to see more of them as this goes up and is driven down because there's less and less liquidity as everything is all bought up. If we're going to hit $250,000 in Bitcoin, we're only at, let's just round it out to a 10,000 because it's easier with math. Then we have $240,000 to go up. If we did $1,000 a day for 240 days, it's enormous to think of how big that 250K is. That means we have to have $1,000 days going up. There has to be some days that it'll be $1,000 going, each Bitcoin will be going up in a day. It has to be. And so those chart formations that we're looking at right now in these 5-year views are all built on less than $1,000 in a day. Well, I don't know. 1 year. So these are daily charts. $13,600 to $16,600. So it went up $3,000 in that 1 day period. This is the kind of stuff that is incoming right now. And we're looking at these big candles being completely awed by it, but there is an enormous change in the demand for Bitcoin around the world. Education, on-ramps. We're going to be seeing some big moves. And then some big pullbacks. Probably in between this kind of thing that's going to really wreck a lot of people. So those who hold and sit back and lend are probably going to do extremely well, and they don't have to work at all. All you have to do is take every dollar cost average, take whatever earnings you have, buy some Bitcoin, put it up for lending, wait, you're going to rock and roll. Do I think it'll go up in the next 2 days? Now it's outside of my prediction range. There's a specific time that I can make a prediction. So you can see this was coming up. And over the last hours and days, as this is building up, I've been posting it and posting it and posting it in our Discord chat. So if you haven't joined our Discord, is it listed down below? Join our Discord chat, because we talk about it all day long and all night long. And I'm posting this kind of thing all the time where I'm watching these 4 charts against the US dollar and against against Bitcoin. So we're watching how they're working relative to each other. And then there's specific times where I can make a prediction and I can tell you what may be coming because it's come to a specific pattern, and that's the only time I can take an action. Then I have some risk control rules around that. And once it's outside of that, it's not where it's not in my land anymore, and I can't tell you. I don't know. It's up to the market now. And so I don't know what's coming next out of this, but I do figure that this is such an important formation. It is so big and so huge in the logarithmic up scale. What do you call that? Parabolic up move. We haven't seen the beginning of it. I think that this is going to be enormously huge. And the next couple days, this is just the very beginning of it. If you are just to throw a dart and say, should I buy now? Well, not at this very second. You would move into the 1 minute bars and you would wait for it to make another consolidation in some form where prices come to a point. In some form or other. As soon as prices are coming to a point and start to break out of that, you can start a practiced approach to getting into the market if you have risk control rules. So there's never a simple answer. What's it going to do? Because you can't know the future. You have to have a whole bunch of different rules in place, different strategies in place, practiced, drilled for skill, drilled, practiced over and over again. Screw it up, try it again, do it again, screw it up, try it again. But as this is breaking out right now, I could throw a dart and say, okay, it looks like it's showing strength and it's continuing. I'm going to buy right now at the market. Boom. And I would give this 20 minutes to prove me right. If it didn't prove me right in 20 minutes, I would get out of that leverage trade. Even if it's just going sideways and it's almost proven me right. Now, the secret is with this leverage trade, I'm only going to put on 20% of my full leverage trade at the very beginning when I'm throwing the dart like that. And so if it is proving me correct and I've got that 20% of my whole trade on, that's just a little bit of my trade. This is going to build up to like a cushion. I can jump off the first floor and land on this cushion and I'm not going to hurt myself. Get what I mean? I'm building myself some protection because this is so risky. I want to build some risk protection. Now this is starting to build up. It's building my confidence that I got in at the right moment. Then I can consider adding on to it if it's proven me correct. I see everything else is showing strength at the same time. If it is, and it's not showing me that yet, well, that's 30-minute view. So I have to go into the same time frame, at least to the 5-minute view, to be able to judge. So far, this imaginary trade we just threw on to the market. You can throw a dart, you can flip a coin. Those are all valid ways of choosing which way you should enter the market. Now, the only thing you need is your risk control rules. And as soon as you are proven correct, you can hold it. You can move your stop loss up above your entry, and that 20% of your whole trade is now there, and it's building that cushion for me to jump off the first floor. Basically, I'm going to take a bigger risk when this has proven me correct and it's got some protection underneath me. Then I'm going to add on to it. I'm going to take a bigger risk. And this is how I build a position. This is how I'm teaching myself to build a position as well, by telling you this story, by sharing this. This is what I teach in the course, and I build it around the trading plans so that you have a specific sequence of events to do for at the very beginning of a trade, the first early stages of a trade, the middle of a trade, the older stages of a trade, what to do if the trade gets cut along the age range, which we've been seeing quite a bit, especially in the alts. Bitcoin. Let me check the chat again. Oh, you have joined and you do like it. Good to have. And the pothead, good to have you along. I appreciate having you guys along on the journey. Haven't done the studies yet of the indicators underneath the market. I've just been distracted here. What is this? BitShares. So we're seeing the difference here between BitShares and Bitfinex. The news about the Tether, whatever it is, has made this gap open up again between the two different markets and Bitcoin. I don't get it, but it seems to be closing. As we get more strength, that gap seems to be closing. What's the other chart I want to look at? What are your thoughts on Tron? I hold a lot of it and I feel a pullback. So thinking of selling and then buying back. Overall, selling and buying back in this market, let's take a look at the chart. But I'm more in favor of holding and gritting the teeth for my own part. Binance favorites. Tron is down here. It could pull back from here. 1 year view. So it is considerably in the daily chart. Sorry, let me drag this over. In the daily chart, it's quite considerably below the cloud. It is back to historical support and resistance levels. It has made a number 1 point in the potential for a bottom formation. This is the most potential place for a bottom formation to occur in this whole market. So you're coming down to the place where I'd be looking to buy in. So if I've been sweating it all the way down here, now's not the time to change your plan. You got to sweat past this for my own thinking. And if it goes down below these levels, then I'm wrong and you're going to lose more and you should have sold earlier. You know, there's no way to really know. Let's zoom in on it. And then I'm going to get into the indicators so that we're not leaving you just with part of an answer. I'll dig into this as deep as I can. 3-month view. I like that it's got this exponential, like the parabolic down movement, like a parabola, where we've got increasingly deeper slopes to the trend line. That's good for the capitulation lows that we've been seeing in so many markets. And I'll bet you bucks that at 5/13, the 13th of May, we're going to see everything hitting bottoms on that very day. And now we have a number 1 point, we have a number 2 point. It's coming back and it's going to be retesting these lows. Should it be breaking the downtrend line that we have, breaking this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and our moving averages crossing over, I'll bet you then at the same time we'll see that it's breaking through the cloud and going higher. So we're at the 3-month view. Let's zoom in more. So now in the 1-month view, we do see this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation shaping up better. The prices are already pushing into the cloud, and we see a flip here in the Ichimoku cloud, which is a tendency towards bullishness. We still haven't gotten into the RSI and the on balance volume and the other indicator, the MACD indicator. And I'll look at those and we'll zoom in on those as well, because that's going to give us the divergences underneath this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation that's going to confirm this breakout. Now let's zoom in on the clouds sooner. So it does look like it's going to pull, it could be pulling back and retesting into these levels, which would be fine in the bigger view, because then we're getting that 1, 2, 3 bottom formation that gives us the break of that trend line, and it'll help us with the exponential moving averages crossing over. While we're here, look at this little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation that started the whole thing off. And you don't see a 1, 2, 3 all the way down here. All the way down, you do not see a fully figured out 1, 2, 3 bottom formation that actually finished itself. No. Coming close, there's a 1, 2, 3 fail. 1, 2, oh, it kind of broke out. Here's your fake out, breakout, 1, 2, 3, and then down it went. So we had one fake out, breakout, 1, 2, 3. Then we had this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation on this super tight time frame, 1 hour bar. Now it's building for the larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Now let's dig in. I love it. Let's dig into these indicators. We have them all here. Binance, TRX, 1 year view. And it's had steady on balance selling. The MACD has been pushing bearish all the way along. The relative strength index has been bearish all the way along, and it's down to the most oversold areas it's been on the RSI in this daily chart ever. So that's the lowest the RSI has been on this down point, which is really good for establishing a bottom. Now that we're establishing a bottom, you can see we have a crossover. The green has crossed over the red. The histogram has gone positive here. Look at this, histogram's gone positive. The crossover on the green just in the last few days on TRX. The on balance volume is less bad, and the relative strength index is showing strength there. Let's zoom in on the time frames. So this is giving me the feeling, I got to refresh this, it messes up sometimes. It's giving me the feeling that it's making a bottom formation where it is, from everything that we're starting to pull together here. 1 day view, 12-hour bar view, potential 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. RSI is looking stronger. The on balance volume is showing some good buying came in and is holding steady. The RSI is showing positive. Still here, it's starting to show that it may be coming back and giving us a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. 1, 2, 3, and then it'll break above these levels. And as it does, we go back to the 12-hour bar view. That's when we'll get our 12-hour bar exponential moving average crossovers actually happening. So this is when the chart formation finishes. This is 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It usually takes 2 weeks of time for this to build up and have enough so that this exponential moving average crosses over as the bottom formation is finished. So, long story is, it's probably going to take another 2 weeks before it turns around. It's not just going to turn off and blast right now. But if it does make a bottom formation while Bitcoin's building, its US dollar value is going to go up. And on the other hand, if Bitcoin dominance starts to crush all the alts we're going to start to see more cascading failures across all of them as a standard. So as Bitcoin dominance starts to move higher out of this channel, altcoin market cap is already picking up right now. As this breakout is taking off, altcoin market cap is breaking up. And look at the 200 period moving average and the 50 period moving average coming to converge right there, and then prices have broken out as they're coming closer together. It's always phenomenal for me to see how this stuff works. So that's what's possible with this bottom formation setting up, and that's how long it's going to take for it to turn around, in my view. And should I be wrong, then this and everything else is going to be breaking below these bottoms. So I hope that helps with Tron. So here's our Bitcoin, Ethereum versus Bitcoin, showing a tick of green. Stellar versus Bitcoin is not collapsed too badly. Litecoin versus Bitcoin. Let's zoom out to some longer term views and check these patterns. They've really moved up nicely, and they've only pulled back a little bit. It's been a very short period of time. Look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 4-hour bars. And it seems like it's been a lot longer than that this is all taken building up here. I think, yes, it's going to be healthy for Tron to have a little bit more bottom for it to build. And I could be wrong, but that's the normal part of building those bottom formations. It usually takes 2 weeks. If for the bottom formation on the 12-hour bars, when we were looking at it here, and we're looking at it with the Ichimoku cloud, this is on the 1-hour bar time frame, the 60-minute time frame, and this is when this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation shaped up, and you could have bought in here or here, and I don't know, sold out here and made this X amount of profit. I don't know. I don't trade that way. I'd always get crushed when I try to trade that way. And so for my own part, I take a position, and then it takes a long time for that position to change before I'm getting out of it. Look how long this took since this top formation. Top formation on February 8th. And there's nothing to do since February 8th but wait for the bottom formation to shape up. And as this turns around and you change your position, now you've got months of time to wait for that bottom, for the market to do its thing. And this is the way I trade best, because there's less to do, less second guessing. You just pay attention to you're keeping your losses small as you're making these formations, and you're testing your position. Once you're correct, you put your stop loss to protect your position, and then it's up to the market. You step back and let it all go until it makes that formation that changes directions. Here's the longer term view. And so a lot of people do videos on a daily basis, and that makes you zoom into the 15-minute bar or the 5-minute bar, and that changes the way you trade. And for my own part, it doesn't fit with me very well, even though I'm watching the charts all the time. If I start trading that way, I'm over trading, I'm jumping in and out, I'm second guessing myself. If I step back and I wait for these formations to form, and I wait for the crosses of the right moving averages, I can take a small position. It proves it's so much easier. It's easier. Also, when you do a stop loss, would you advance a market or limit stop loss? My stop loss strategies are really simple because I'm dyslexic and I have trouble between left and right. And so limit loss and the others, I just have to check them every time to make sure I'm doing it the right way. So I have a very simple stop loss strategy. And it has to do with only holding trades that prove me correct. In theory, when I'm doing it correct, I put on a trade and it's only a small part of the full position. Then I manually watch it for the first 30 minutes. And if it's not proving me correct, I get out of it. I sell it. I take the loss. If it's proving me correct, I'll hold it and I'll watch it and I'll babysit it. And as soon as it's far enough up, I'll put my stop loss up above my entry point. And then my job's done. And I sit on my hands and let the market do the rest of it. So, my stop loss pattern is probably not the most sophisticated. And I suppose if I used some of the tools that make it easier, I might use my stop losses and be better at some of these trades that do go against me and I'm not paying attention. For example, this one didn't go against me. I caught this top formation as it was coming up because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It was such a clear uptrend line. When it made this 1, 2, 3 top formation, it was like, I have to do it. And it just turned out correct immediately to have gotten out of the trade there. I didn't go short on it, but there was a lot of other trades that are markets that made top formations at the beginning of beginning of April, right? April 1st, April 3rd, 5th, 7th. If you'd have sold all of your alts at that time, you'd have done way better. It sold them all to alts and stayed in Bitcoin. Here at the top of this time frame here. Oh, that's, yeah, April 4th, 5th, 6th, right in here. If you'd have been selling and using this top trend line and this top formation and the exponential moving averages crossovers right there, this would have been the perfect time to get out of alts and just be holding your Bitcoin. And now as Bitcoin's taking off and the alts are bottoming, that you could be salting a little bit of your Bitcoin back into the alts maybe. The alts still haven't turned around and proved it yet. Now, I want to take a look at Bitcoin more closely. I do this on the other stream, and we go through Bitcoin on Bitstamp. Oh, nice chart. And I want to clear all that stuff off, zoom into the 3-month view, and bring up the indicators. So I like to look at these indicators, the same 3 indicators over and over again, and really get to know them compared to the chart patterns and moving averages, which I've always traded with, and I always glanced at the indicators, but now with this daily review of them, it really helps to get to know what each of them means and when you can use them together in a strategy. So on the 12-hour bar, that looks bearish, that looks bearish, and that looks bearish. It's a crossover, although it's weakening, and there's a little bit of volume coming in, and this has got a bit of strength here at the last little edge. Overall, from the 12-hour point of view, this looks bearish. Let's go to the 1-day point of view. Okay, it's pulled back, so it's eased off, but it hasn't gone full bear here on the daily. Still looking pretty okay, but not as strong. Stronger than the 3-month view. And then the 5-year view still looks fantastic. The weekly view still looks fantastic. All of our histograms here, let me clear this. All of our histograms are still going stronger. That means the green and the yellow are, the green and the red line are moving further apart. I'm dyslexic, but I'm not colorblind. And as the histograms are growing stronger, that means that these lines are growing further apart. And that shows the acceleration basically to the positive direction. Now, I've been watching the on-balance volume and saying that we haven't seen the volume come in that we've seen in the past, but now it's starting to pick up. So that volume is starting to match. The RSI is still looking strong, and it has a long ways to go yet to reach some of the most overbought territories. And as we're in an uptrend, the RSI is not as the best indicator because it's always overbought as we're in a big uptrend. We'll watch for the divergences in the closer time frames and for the RSI to help us pick those out. Now I'm going to zoom into the 3-month view again. So we're watching the RSI, the switch over here, zoom into the 1-month view. Now we can see the momentum starting to switch direction. I like it. The crossover has happened. The histogram has gone to positive, which is a measure of how far these are apart, the histogram. So now I'm looking at the on-balance volume, and it's less bad, which is more positive. The RSI is also diverging a little bit. It's more positive. We have higher lows on the RSI, and it's diverging a little bit. So those are bullish. Those are strong and showing a change of direction as Bitcoin is showing the green candle growing. Let's zoom into the 1-hour bars. Yeah, the RSI is going strong, and we're just seeing the unbalanced volume just now go green, which is amazing for this amount of move, and that's just starting it to go green. What is to come? That's the amazing thing. The MACD has just gone positive as well. So all of these three right now have verified the breakout as being positive and not a fake out breakout. So the divergences are supporting the bullish move. So if you're asking what's it going to do in the next 2 days, everything here is saying that it's going to be going up, but some unexpected thing could come along and make that change in an instant. Here, that's why we have the disclaimer saying that this isn't trading advice. You got to mix this together with your own research and then decide. These histograms are showing positive and going strong from where we are and growing stronger by the moment over the 15-minute bars. So over the last hour, each of the 15-minute bars have been expanding exponentially in strength. And here again, we can see that the on-balance volume was strong and growing, coming in again as prices are taking off. All green on these charts. So interesting always to watch Ethereum starting to outpace what Bitcoin seems to be doing here. Litecoin is going strong. I feel like a cast announcer and the cars are racing around the track. Ethereum versus Bitcoin. That's the 1 day view. Okay, freak me out. 5-minute view, 5-minute view. This is where I want to see these take off. If Bitcoin can be taking, and the alts can be growing at the same time, then we're in for some fancy dancing for us altcoin bag holders. And I do believe that Ethereum is going to outpace Bitcoin in its growth this year. Here's the 1 day view, and this isn't enough history. It's only back to 2018. But we're down to such historical lows and saw such a blast off. This little pullback is not the end. And I'm watching for when that changes and if it changes, because breaks below these levels show that the Bitcoin dominance is too much for the alts to handle. And the alts are not performing as well as Bitcoin is. All of the money is pouring into Bitcoin. Where is the Bitcoin dominance chart? Here it is. It's not seeming to break out. What am I looking at for time frame? 60-minute. 3-month view, 5-day view. That's the 1 hour bars. I thought just with what's going on in the last hour that the Bitcoin dominance would be really stepping up here and we would see it. The altcoin market cap in the last hour has made a good candle. Bitcoin's gone up. All right, I think the best thing to do is hold for sure. The reason I do market sell stop losses is because when you have flash crash, it sometimes doesn't sell as a limit stop because it went down too fast. Yeah, I'm pretty much all market orders. So I pay the higher fees and I watch the order books and I see something that is the size of the trade that I want and I'll purchase it at the market, and then I'm watching it for that first 20 minutes to 30 minutes, and if it's not proving me correct, then I'm selling it at the market. I just close the trade and I watch again for another opportunity, and I'm always starting off with that little 20% of my full trade. So once that's proven me correct and it gives me that pillow to jump off the first floor, I can take a bigger risk and I can put on a bigger trade. And sometimes it's in a position like this where it's showing strength and it's glowing higher. That's perfect. This is exactly what I want. That's a bull breakout. I can buy on the break like this, so long as I'm there to babysit it for that first 20 minutes. If it turns around and it doesn't prove me correct, I have to close it. And then if it's proven me correct, like right now, if I just bought at the market, it is proven me correct, it's going up, then I could put my stop loss above it and I could sit on my hands and leave it to the market to decide how correct I am. You already have to have your rules on when you're going to get out. You have to have that planned in advance. A lot of people, what do I mean 20%? Say I've got 1 Bitcoin and I can put in 2% of my total coin into any one trade. So 2% of 1 Bitcoin would be 0.2, isn't it? No, that's 20%. 0.02 Bitcoin. That's my full trade. 0.02 Bitcoin. So now I take 20% of that 0.02, multiply on the computer, gives me the 20% of my full trade capacity, and I put that little bit on as my beginning of the trade. So now, if we had putting on a trade as I was talking, and it started to prove me correct, and it started to do what it's doing right now, pulling back, I would go, I'm not holding it. It's not proving me correct. It's got to prove me correct and go. And I get out. And so I have a very small loss because I put on such a small trade compared to the full size. Now, the next time I go ahead and trade, I don't have 0.02 Bitcoin anymore for that market. I've lost some money. So I can only put on, instead of the 20%, maybe I've only got something that would be equivalent of 18% of the 0.02. You see, I'm starting off with a smaller initial entry, and I have to play with that smaller and smaller initial entry until I get it right and build that cushion up. And it has to be 10 or 20% above my entry. And then I can decide if I'm going to put on the rest of that 80% of the money that I can allocate to that market. And that market then can be a maximum of 2% of my entire equity. And you can have varying degrees between 20 and 80% of your equity in alts or alternately in Bitcoin. And you always keep an 80-20 slosh back and forth between. And that's our thing, is to now decide, when do I get out of alts and go 20% alt and 80% Bitcoin? When do I go 80% Bitcoin and 20% alts? And nobody knows the future, so we're all watching and watching. So I would have closed that 20% of my initial entry, and I'd be just watching now, because I know it's going to go up, but I just want to try it again at the right time. And this is where it gets really difficult, and it's important to have that small trade. So this has been 5 minutes since we've been talking this through. I would have given it the full 20 minutes or technical levels, and I wouldn't just jump in and out on a 5-minute thing. And you know what? I don't do trades on the 1-minute bar unless it already lines up on the 12-hour bars. It has to come to my point of trade on the 4-hour or the 12-hour bars, and then I'm zooming in like I would driving a car. You know, I know where I'm going to turn, but I don't start turning until I get right to the corner. So I'm zooming into the very corner of that street where I'm going to do the turn if things are correct and there's no pedestrians in the way. You get my analogy. But I'm always deciding by looking at the map of the whole city, and then I zoom into the individual street corner, and then I'm zooming out of that street corner as soon as I can get my stop loss above my entry. Now it's time for me to sit back and let the market tell me how correct I am. My philosophy on, and the risk control. So, okay, this is the Ichimoku cloud, and look at the unbalanced volume coming in here. So it's a strong breakout. It's definitely be going quite a bit more from here. Really nice to see the indicators backing it up, and to know what the indicators have to tell us for a correct trade, then to see it and to line up and to take that trade with your risk controls. It's a beautiful thing in action. For me, it's like an orchestra playing music. You watch all this stuff come together. It's just wonderful. So there's Bitcoin, but against the altcoins, Ethereum is not holding it. Stellar is having a hard time, but not really cracking lower. Litecoin is pulled back, but it's not showing the strength that Bitcoin is. Bitcoin dominance has got to be pulling out, and I just don't see it yet. That's surprising to me. 30-minute view. That is a 30-minute view? Okay, so in the 30-minute view, now we can start to see some Bitcoin dominance moving up here. And here is the 50 period and the 200 period moving average as well. So as that 50 period crosses the 200 period and we have a breakout, that's very significant for the Bitcoin dominance. Last time it crossed over, Bitcoin dominance had a good run as it was coming here, and well, it went back and forth a few times. So we'll have to see if it's taking off above these levels. Altcoin market cap is going up overall But, well, okay, we're starting to get some green in some of these alts. I'm expecting that the alts are going to be pumping with Bitcoin, and I've expected that in the past and been wrong. And then I'm holding alts while Bitcoin takes off, and I'm going, damn it. So these top formations have to be respected in these alts. And you have to reduce or remove your alts and reduce and go to Bitcoin on these top formations. And it's the hardest things to do sometimes, but this is what may be coming in the Bitcoin dominance growing. It's going to crush the alts. I'm still holding mine. We'll wait and see what goes on here. What's the altcoin, the best altcoin to buy in right now? Generally, when I find one that is the best altcoin and I do a bunch of research and I really get to know the market, I do the poorest at trading that market. So instead of trying to say what is the best market itself and becoming biased on it, oh, look at that. Alt's getting a little bit of poke down here, crossover. So instead of trying to find the best alt, I have that specific trading pattern. So here's our top formation, and this would tell me what to do in this market. This would be an exit signal blooming up here in this top formation. Even though I want this to go higher, even though it's making a potential bottom formation, this is a potential top. So then there's an action to be taken. And then I go through all the markets and I have my plan of action. I know what action I'll take when the chart makes this pattern. And I go through, are you making my pattern? Actually, you were really stepping up here. And now we're pulling back as Bitcoin is showing strength. Zoom in more and we can see that it started to break off and go down before Bitcoin started to go up. There was a big bunch of volume came in, and then there's been selling coming down. So I'm not trying to find the best market for my own part. I'm trying to find the ones that match my chart pattern formation. So here we are on the 12-hour bar. And by the way, if you want to know that trading plan that I go by and has done so well for me over the years of trading cryptos, you really can use it in 15 minutes a day and you can do all your crypto trading. Okay, I don't have the scene set. Go to the website link down below for the free special report. You can get a free chapter from my book, https digitalcurrencytraders.com. Go and download the free chapter, and don't do it later. Go and do it now. Don't even just ignore the rest of the video. Go and get that free chapter. Don't do it later and think, oh shit, when you go and get it finally, you think, wow, what a difference that would have made if I went and got that. It's not my trading plan, and I'm not telling you to go and get it because I'm some genius. I put it together from learning from a whole bunch of other people, and I've practiced it and proven it works in cryptocurrencies really well. And because it wasn't my trading plan, it's okay to give away. It doesn't limit how much I can make. No matter how many of you learn this stuff, it doesn't limit. In fact, it helps me out because you're on this live stream and you ask me questions. What about this market making the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation? The exponential moving averages are just about to cross. We can see the on-balance volume is strong. We all start speaking a coherent language around these chart patterns, and it gets to be repeatable patterns that we can all see, and we can all benefit from these divergences. We can see the strength coming in. We see the strength coming in, even though it's making a down movement here at AGI. Now I'm alert. I'm watching this market to complete the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and have that exponential moving average turn around. I know it's coming. It's like that big jetliner coming into land. You can predict it. And now the thing is to be patient for the bottom formation to finish, the exponential moving average to cross. And the reason for that is so that you don't get in on a spike like that and then prices come back. There are so many fake out breakouts that we've seen all over the place that if you're buying on these moments of strength, they often get you wrecked. You have to have those filters of the bottom formation, the turnaround, the exponential moving average crossover. Put those things together with your risk control rules of putting on a bit of your trade and adding on to it when you're correct. It's like an orchestra. It is. It's like playing a whole orchestra, and it just works. Once you learn those systems and practice it enough that it becomes habitual, it becomes reflexive, it becomes second nature, then it's easy to do. And every one of you, I'll take a look at Coin in a second, Simo. I love it. And DJ Denton, good to see the glasses. He's always got the cool glasses. Now, everyone watching now, 20 people, give it a thumbs up if you like these analogies. You understand that most of us learned how to trade cryptos just by going and finding somebody on Twitter, find some influential video, watch a few things, you learn some patterns, and then you put some money in the exchange and you say, I'm going to go and practice some trades. And it's okay if I lose my money or lose a little bit of money. It's only my first trade. What do you expect? How many of you would agree that's how you learn to trade cryptos? Put it in the chat, yes or no. Is that the way you learn to trade cryptos, or am I off in chasing the car going around Mars? Elon Musk's car. Is that the way you learn to trade? The analogy is sort of like learning how to fly an airplane that way. What if you went out to the airport and you climbed into the cockpit of the airplane and the instructor got in beside you, like I am now, and I said, here's the on-balance volume, here's the indicators, here's the chart pattern. Now you go ahead and fly this plane. I'm going to get out and you give it a try today flying this plane. It's okay if you crash. It's only your first day. What do you expect? It's crazy. You would never go out and learn how to fly a plane like that, because your first time flying a plane would be your last. You'd be dead. And the plane would be wrecked. So it's the same thing as trading. You've got to have the same preparation that a pilot puts in, because trading is as dangerous as flying. More dangerous than driving a car. If you make a mistake while you're driving the car, people will swerve around you to help you avoid the consequences of your mistake. Not so in trading. If you make a mistake in trading, people are there trying to take your money away. It's much more dangerous than driving a car. And so you have to be prepared for that danger. You have to know what the dangers are. You have to know that if you don't look both ways before you cross the street, you could get killed. Then you know that you're going to look both ways before you cross the road, and you'll never get killed by a car because you've got this life-saving skill and you've practiced it. It's the same thing with this trading now. You get the patterns, you get the risk control rules, and then you've got to practice it and 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 practice it until you're bored with it. Because by the time you get bored, you've actually created those neural patterns in your brain that make it reflexive. You're bored, you're thinking of other things while you're doing it. It becomes so second nature. And the reason you have to do that in trading is so that you take your losses as soon as the trade is going against you without thinking about it. And you've only put on 20% of your overall trade to start off with. So even if you were taking your losses like this, it wouldn't be big against your entire portfolio. So you've practiced those things ahead of time. And the reason you have to practice them ahead of time is because in times of stress, we revert to habit. Repeat that to yourself. Write it down. In times of stress, we revert to habit. And if you haven't made these rules habitual, you will not use them. You will look back after the trade is done and you'll say, damn it, I knew I should have. And if you're at that point in your trading, you are very close to being successful. You've got your plan and you are recognizing it a little bit late. That is really great steps in your trading. And so that's why I do these videos for my own part. Is I'm practicing this stuff over and over and over. And in trading, you have to be there with the bat on your shoulder, ready to swing at the ball. You got this automatic pitcher machine ready to throw a ball, and you've got to be ready to bat it. You don't know when it's going to be thrown. You have to be ready all the time. So whenever these formations are setting up, they take days to play out, and finally it does this blast off, and you've got 3 minutes to catch it. You've got to be there. You've got to be prepared. You've got to have your plan in hand. It's got to be habitual so that when this happens, you just do the trade. It's lined up to exactly what you're looking for. It's telling you to take your action. And then as soon as you're proven correct, you put your stop loss on and you're done. all that waiting just for a couple minutes, and then there's no more work to do. You've got to sit on your hands. Yeah, I love it. Airplane. Let me find Coin now. SC. Give me this filter. Okay, Coin's been giving us our increasingly fast downtrend, the parabolic down move. I'm in the 12-hour bar view. So this is pretty newly listed on Binance. 3-month view. We've got a little bit lower lows. This huge on-balance volume is somebody stepping in and taking a big chunk of this market as the alts are bottoming. Is this happen to be on the 13th? Let's zoom in a little bit more, because the 13th of May is turning out to be the day, the 13th of May, all over the place. This is our number 1 point. And then we have this big influx of volume and things have cooled off a little bit. So the trading signal, for my own part, couldn't initiate until it broke above these levels, because it could still be going down. It hasn't turned direction. I wanted to change direction. I'm on the 4-hour bar, so that's pretty good. We have the exponential moving averages have crossed. So there's 2 of the 3 indicators, or 2 of the 3 rules that we look for in the simple trading plan. If you're downloading that free simple trading plan from the website, and I recommend that you do, it teaches you these 3 things. Where you break the downtrend line, you get the 1, 2, 3 bottom, and the exponential moving averages crossed, and that's your signal. So we've got the break of the downtrend line. We've got the exponential moving average cross. Now we have to wait for the prices to break above these levels to show that the direction has actually changed direction, and it's not just another fake out breakout and then prices continue down. Have you ever been hit by a fake out breakout? It looks like an amazing chart pattern. It breaks out higher, you buy into it, and then it immediately starts to go down, and it breaks those levels and continues down. And you go, what was that spike for? It looked so good. That's the fake out breakout. And that's why I start out with that 20% of my position, because I'm assuming it's going to be a fake out breakout. They happen 6 out of 10 times. It's a fake. It's the everybody getting excited. It's all the automated bots getting their trigger signals. It's all of these, technical indicators are giving a trigger signal. So the bots are all jumping on it, but the overall momentum still hasn't changed yet. And so the overall market continues against it. But we get caught on those quick triggers. Hopefully by having a few of these filters, it stops us from jumping in on these triggers too quickly. We let the bots do all of that screwing around. Now, I don't think the markets actually did this jump. Sometimes Coinigy Charts do this. It used to scare the crap out of me. Okay, there we go. So Coin is building up, not ready yet. Has anybody else got another? Yeah, Send Crypto, you've got a great channel too. If you guys haven't checked out Send Crypto's channel, click on his username, go over there and subscribe. He does some great technical analysis. Grow his channel. You'll love his stuff. April 1st was a great day, and I'm not happy that April 2nd, I didn't realize how important April 1st was. April 3rd, April 4th, April 5th, April 6th. I was in denial of the importance of April 1st. So now May 13th, I hope I'm not going to be missing the importance of it. And this is another reason I love the channel, because we're all watching the same thing. And if we're watching for the same thing, your comments, like Send Crypto's comments here, are going to help nail things. We're going to get it right. And there's lots for all of us. There's no limit. There's no need to hide away the good stuff. This isn't enough of a turnaround signal yet for me to get too excited about it. This is okay. The RSI is okay. The MACD is okay. The unbalanced volume is not that great. And I don't like the downtrend line break yet on Ardor. Pardon me. Let me zoom in a little bit. So it's got some work to do. It's got to really turn around. This is a potential 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, but it's got some some work to do in this market. It looks like the Bitcoin strength is really not happy for Ardor. ARK also not happy. Let's just look at the price. Not happy, but Bitcoin has gone up more than this has gone down. So in market cap, this would have gone up. ARN. Similar story. Bitcoin seems to have gone up more. Maybe it's percentage-wise similar, but we're still inside our bottom formation for the alts. There's our 13th of May. AST, 13th of May. It's potential bottom formation. Nothing yet. Atom actually was a 1, 2, 3 bottom and looking great here. Looking great here. It's pulled back, but I think that, as I was thinking before, it's probably going to just pull back a little bit and then go up. And it may not be the case. Right now, I can rationalize it, but any bit more, there's not enough evidence for me to rationalize that it's going to be a spring back with too many markets of them following this exact time. I nailed it on my Bitcoin prediction last night. And, you know, I'll go back and check that again, because I just try to look at what the indicators are saying and just say what the indicators are saying. Then so then I can go back in 6 months and on a specific day, like May 13th, April the 2nd, and I can go back and rewatch my video and see, and I can learn from myself. I get better confidence in holding where I should and folding sooner when I should. So this study today, right now, is unfortunately making me want to fold on my alts, because it doesn't seem like this is holding our bottom formation that the alts were starting to make. All of this is still in the downtrend. We haven't been holding any of these bottoms yet. They haven't been breaking. This is a potential bottom formation, but I'm going to go back to I guess I'll come back to this chart. I'm going to go back to my familiar one because I know it. BitShares. Here's a potential 1, 2, 3 bottom formation shaping up as well. And if it was to break out, this would have been a trading signal. It has to break above these levels for this trading signal to complete. So you can prepare for it as it's setting up, but this is a downtrend. Now I'm going to go back to the earlier chart I was talking about. Let's go to the 1 year view. So it's day charts. And I'm going to go back to our fateful time from, where's May of 2016. Here we are. So I was figuring that we were something like this earlier. Look at the background stuff. This light blue here is Bitcoin on Bitfinex. So I always like to have Bitcoin against the altcoin in the background so that I can see the two of them, because I've been screwed before, fooled before. I didn't pay attention to it before, and I'm trying to find every way I can to pay attention to this so that I notice when that split happens, when Bitcoin's going up and altcoins are getting crushed, and when the other thing happens. So we had in 2016, we had a similar setup that we'd had now, where the alts did a little bit of a run, as we saw from January to the mid of till April 1st. We had that little bit of an altcoin run, and Bitcoin was doing its thing. Then we had April 1st, that big move. Bitcoin was showing strength, and the altcoins did a dip. I don't know, similar to this. Altcoins pulled back a little bit, and as Bitcoin made a bit of a top after its run, now we have altcoins making a bit of a bottom. This is a top formation. This is a bottom formation. Alts are just about to go. Bitcoin is going to come back. You know the writing's on the wall for the alts to be taking off. We show a little bit of strength. Here's our fake out maybe. A little bit more strength. There's our fake out. And then Bitcoin starts to show its true color and strength. And that little bit of a rally we had in alts that we are maybe seeing right now, maybe this is the earlier one, that gets crushed for quite a long time as Bitcoin is going up. The altcoins really suffer for a long time. So any of those potential little bottoms that show up and is a beautiful little potential 1, 2, 3 bottom as Bitcoin is making a potential top formation. Here's a potential bottom after Bitcoin makes a pullback. You know, all of these things, we didn't have a break of the down trend line properly to actually get into alts. This is what we're looking at right now as Bitcoin is making these stronger moves, and the Bitcoin dominance is starting to look ominous. It's starting to look stronger here, that we could be in a similar circumstance to where we were in 2016 from September, October, November, December, January, February, March of 2017, that alts slowly bled down while Bitcoin went up. For my own part, I consider this to be it is a very expensive mistake for my part at this time, to be holding my alts this whole time and never letting go of them. You know the monkey rice trap? You take a coconut and you drill 2 holes in it at the bottom for a chain, and then a hole at the top just big enough for a monkey's open hand to fit through. And you put rice in there. The monkey will put his hand in to grab the rice, and he'll grab a hold of the rice and make a fist. Then he can't pull his hand out. And he will not let go of the rice in order to gain his freedom as the trapper is coming up to grab him. He won't let go of the rice. He can't change his value perception fast enough to save himself. He wants that rice. And he keeps pulling his hand to keep the rice, but he can't get his hand. You know what I mean? So here I am in this monkey rice trap, holding on to my alts. And I don't want to do that if Bitcoin dominance is going to be going up this time. I want to release my alts and go to a smaller alt percentage and a larger Bitcoin percentage, lend out my Bitcoin and just hold and not freak out for all these moves where it's going to go through the moon. If I just make it go slowly and grow slowly, I'm going to do way better than trying to trade small moves for my own part. Now, all these months later, we actually get a real bottom formation. Maybe we've just seen this real bottom formation starting in our altcoins now. Maybe. And this is what we'll be watching for over the next weeks, days, as Bitcoin and altcoin prices are unfolding. Let's zoom in to the present time, the 3-day view. So BitShares is not getting as hammered by Bitcoin's strong price move. So if we're seeing a lot of altcoins resisting going down as Bitcoin is going up, we are in for some treats. Look at this. Factum hardly pulled back as Bitcoin made this huge move. Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Oh, there was a 30-minute freeze price on Ethereum's pulled back a little bit, but nowhere near percentage-wise what Bitcoin has gone up. This is where the altcoin market cap has gone way up, because they're just, the holders of the altcoins are not dumping. As Bitcoin goes down, there's not that much freak out as there was in a last Bitcoin move up. Look at the panic dumping going on here. We're at the early stages of it now. We'll see if this continues to crack and fall throughout the evening here. Let's take out Dash. So it pulled back a little bit, but is holding. And the pullback doesn't seem percentage-wise as deep as Bitcoin's strength. So I think we're doing good. Ripple pulled back a bit. I like it. Where's our 4? So here's Bitcoin now. This is Ethereum versus Bitcoin, Stellar versus Bitcoin, Litecoin versus Bitcoin. Let's go see all of their US dollar values all going up, up, up. On the 5-minute bars here, we're just breaking out of these beautiful triangle formations that we've been watching here on our Discord chat for the last few days. As they're building up, we're watching this because I want to know, is this a dump or a pump coming up? And it was always feeling to me like the next wave of this parabolic move up that we are not yet appreciating how this is going to move. These are too big of moves. Let me see if I can remember the search. Here we go. All of the world's money markets in one visualization. All of the world's money markets in one visualization. You can search for it. Bookmark it. If you haven't seen this before, If you haven't seen this before and you're sitting here watching this video and you haven't hit the thumbs up button yet and you haven't hit the, you know the deal. Anyway, look at this. All of the, what was that again? All of the world's money markets in one visualization. Look at the size of silver. I'm surprised at how small silver is compared to Bitcoin. This is out of date. This is old. Bitcoin's bigger than this now. It was 100 billion at the time. The rest of the cryptocurrencies were 45 billion. Ethereum was 28 billion at the time. So the cryptos have grown bigger than this. They're bigger squares. But when you compare these squares against Microsoft, the size of Apple, Bitcoin isn't the size of Apple yet. It's going to be bigger than Apple. It's going to be bigger than Facebook. Facebook's own currency is going to be as big as Bitcoin. You know, there's so many things coming up here. But let's go on. Look at these 50 richest people. California's gross domestic product compared to the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just one square. The Fed's balance sheet. All the currencies of the world. Here's gold compared to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is going to be the digital gold that is better than gold, it's going to be bigger than this. It's going to be bigger than this. This is how many more times than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12, 24, I don't know how many of these there are. Give it 100, let's just say a nice round 100 times the size of Bitcoin right now. 100 times the size, 100 times the price of Bitcoin right now. So that's crazy. And we're not done. Look at the stock markets. This, like, US stock market is bigger than all of gold. The stock market itself is bigger than all of gold. The global money supply. So here's the narrow money. Here's the broad money supply. People think that it's 92% non-physical, this money. Think that'll be digitized? Here's the global debt. Here's the global real estate. Agricultural real estate is only worth this much. Crazy. Residential real estate is worth this much. Derivatives, this is where it gets crazy. This is the size of the derivatives market. Look at how many squares there are. This is the low end of the size of the derivatives market. This is the high end, the top of the gray and all the way down, down, down. Yep, that's a lot. And here's Bitcoin compared to the size of the derivatives market. Are we in a good place with Bitcoin? I think buy and hold is a pretty good idea. Buy, hold, and lend, if you are able to, is a pretty good idea for very low risk. Dollar cost averaging, where you take $1 of your paycheck, every paycheck, and you buy a little bit of cryptocurrencies, is probably not a bad idea. And don't speculate. It's very dangerous, more dangerous than driving a car. Practice a method before you get in there. Start off really small and make sure that a great percentage of your portfolio is locked up in lending. And when you get a great profit out of a good trade, you take a whole bunch of that and lock it up in lending, so that you are doing some trading and it's high risk stuff and it's high reward stuff, but the base of your stuff, maybe 60% should be super low risk, and any profits from the high risk should be over into low risk stuff and locked in. It's that risky. So, where is the chat again? FOMO all in. You're right, Robin Bush. There's a time for FOMO. There's a time for balls to the walls. There's a time for margin trading and opening up the risk. And it is after you've been proven right with your small trade and you've been proven right with your larger trade, and prices come back and consolidate, and you've got this cushion and you're really ready to risk this entire cushion with the bulk of your trade. Then you can go balls to the walls, full bore. And if you do screw up on that big, massive trade, you've already got a profitable trade underneath you to absorb your losses, and you're not taking from your initial base capital. And that's the way to gear up to putting the nitro on in your trading. You've got to have those stages, and you got to know them. You got to visualize them before the stages actually are coming, and you know when in the stages you're going to be putting the pedal to the floor. And you're only going to do that when you come up to a straight stretch, right? You're not going to put the pedal to the floor in your car when you're just going into a corner. Otherwise, you're rolling off the edge of that corner. There's a specific time to put the pedal down. And if you don't know it and you don't practice it and you don't know how to protect yourself to get ready for it, you are going to be in the Darwin Awards. And I'm still believing these alts are going to be coming up, but they're not giving me the evidence of it. I like that they're going up in the US dollar price. This is awesome. So the overall altcoin market cap is going up. We can see it. We can watch it here in the US dollar value going up. But versus Bitcoin, Bitcoin is still outpacing right now. Yeah, I agree with don't even margin trade. There's, like I say, there's only the one moment when you are allowed to put on a margin trade. And I would say that you would have your margin trading money sit there and you'd use it 3 times a year, 4 times a year, where it comes to that moment and everything's all working perfectly, where you can just hammer it. You know, there's no police watching. You know, you can just go right balls to the walls. You know the pattern you're looking for. And you have that base of protection built up by having built up a position to that, so that you've got a bungee cord basically off as you're jumping, because there could be the unexpected happen the moment you put that big trade on, even though it's the perfectest looking thing. So that protection underneath of having that established stages of the trade before you put that full blast on is really key. So grab that free training from the website, digitalcurrencytraders.com. Having hype, I think that's all just news. That's all bullshit. And even if it's real, it's going to be showing out in the charts. It's going to give me a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It's going to give me a consolidation and a breakout. So I don't care about the news. The news usually follows the market movement. And then you have some noob who's just paid to write about it. He doesn't actually trade. He hasn't spent 20 years looking over a system that has a specific way of approaching it. He's just giving his opinion, and who knows what kind of research they do to get their opinion to be able to put into it to say, this is the cause. I don't know. And I don't want to spend my time chasing after it, because 98% of the time it's just marketing spin. And a lot of it is written by automated AI programs. And so it's pulling little bits together of all sorts of other articles and spinning it into something that they can put onto their website that generates traffic. And it's got the right search engine keywords, and it's the right keyword density, and it's got the internal linking structure correct for the website ranking, and it's got the social media built up, and it's a bunch of crap. All you have to do is look at the price chart patterns and pay attention to them and have that specific system, know exactly what to do when this happens and when that happens. And then you can sit back and you can look at the daily chart, and you can see that I'll go over to a daily chart with my indicators on it. So 1 year view of whatever this is. Let's go to Bitcoin. 1 year view of Bitcoin. We have a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, exponential moving average crossover, and the price broke out. So you have 10 minutes of work to do here, and there's nothing else to do. You're not supposed to do anything until these exponential moving averages cross over again. So you'd move your stop loss up, and leave it. You wouldn't have been skewered by this big move coming down. Good. And we could see that there was nothing to do in all of this. Exponential moving average crossover says to get out. Okay, I get out. Oh, it crossed back over again. Oh, look at that. I get back in. There's nothing to do. It crossed over. Now I have to get out, and it immediately crossed over again. Okay, I get back in. Boom, nothing to do. It looked terrible. Everybody's panicking. The news is going crazy. It's dumping like mad, whatever it was. I don't know. But my exponential moving averages didn't cross over. So I may not have gotten out on that trade. If I'd been, just the casual investor, I may not have even noticed the news. And so anyway, we go on with the story, and the exponential moving averages didn't cross over. There's nothing for me to do all the way through here. I don't have to jump in and out. I don't. And then after it's crossed over the top, if I'd have gotten out there, I'm way ahead of everybody else, right? Way ahead of everybody else to have sold out at that time. Just, okay, it crossed over. And it's pretty simple. It really is. And once you really believe it and you go through these charts over and over and over again, and you see these things setting up, then what's going on right now in altcoins is going to be really give you butterflies, and you're going to have a hard time going to sleep, because you're going to be looking at these charts and you're going to see this kind of formation setting up, and you're going to just be super excited by it. So let's go to the 1 year view and zoom back on this, and you can see these bottom formations shaping up. And we know that when that exponential moving average crosses over, it's pretty simple strategy that it's probably going to go up. You put on that little bit of your position, and if it continues to go up, you can be adding on to it. And as the stream goes along through the months, we'll talk about when it pulls back and when to add on and all of that stuff too. Let's go back to Bitcoin. So I appreciate that there are more people joining in as the stream goes on. It wasn't planned. I didn't send out a notice, and we've been going on for an hour and 15 minutes. But I am interested to see what is going on with the Bitcoin dominance, because I have too many alts that I shouldn't be holding. If Bitcoin dominance is going up like this, I should be really paying attention to some of these alts that I've got. Altcoin market cap is going up, so I can console myself that they're going up in US dollar value, which is second consolation prize, because if I'd have been holding Bitcoin, it's going up more in US dollar value than the alts are. That's what it means when Bitcoin dominance is going up. And I do believe that the alts are going to be going up with Bitcoin, but there's also that evidence we just saw back in 2016 that I believed it back then too, and I was wrong, and I held my alts. So I don't want to be as dumb or as wrong this time. As this is breaking down, I want to be holding Bitcoin instead of my Ethereum for this moment on this chart. As it's coming down to these technical levels, it is a top formation, and it is showing that Bitcoin is showing more strength than Ethereum versus US dollar. And we can see it here, Bitcoin versus Ethereum. Let's do the 5-minute view. Both of them are topping, just a little internal top. But the main thing is they've broken out. And the other main thing is, what are alts doing? Let's go into this Binance DLT. So this was a great trade, really nice entry and exit on that as it made the top formation. As it's come back now to consolidate, this first move was really exciting, got in the news, everybody was talking about it, but it really wasn't the time to take any action. I want to filter those things out. And that's why I look at these longer term time frames, because that is a killer. It's just demoralizing to jump into something that it pulls back this much. You know, you've got in at 23 and it's down to 13, and you got to like grit it. It's going to go back. It's going to go. Oh, that's crazy. So I try to filter those out. Even this, even though it's looking great and we have these big spikes of volume, I love it. It's a beautiful setup. We're on the 12-hour bar. The exponential moving averages have almost crossed. No, they're coming closer. And we have a bowl shape. It's a formation of a 1, 2, 3 bottom. We can go into the 4-hour bar, and it's looking even better. We've got to cross over a few times so that the exponential moving averages are showing it. But then I would wait for either the breakout right there, and I could put on my 20% of my trade. And I talk about this all the time. This is no secret. It's important. Breakout, buy. But every bot in the world is doing that. This is when we want to test. Is it going to fake me out and screw me over and do this to me? You know, it's just as it's getting up to my buy-in point, I go, okay, it's proven me right. It's on good volume. I get in there and down it comes. I don't want to. So I want to wait. I assume that it's going to be doing this. I'm going to assume that it's going to be doing this. I'm going to wait for it to come back to this level, retest it, and then go higher. That's when I'm going to put on my 20%. Sometimes the markets are going to take off without me, and I'm going to miss it, and I'm going to go, oh, too bad. There's so many other markets. I'm going to watch for one that's making this formation, coming back and retesting that breakout level that every bot is either not going to dump, right? It's not going down below here, and it's starting to show strength. That's when I'm going to buy the breakout. I'm going to wait for this breakout filter. So now we have, let me clear that off. Now we have more than just the 3 rules. We have the break of the downtrend line. Check, done it. The 1, 2, 3 bottom breakout. We know it'll be above this level, has to be. Maybe even we could say above this level, depending on how close you want to be. So we've got the break of the downtrend line, break of the 1, 2, 3 bottom, exponential moving average crossover. Then we have the final filter to avoid those spikes is to wait for it to come back and retest the number 2 point, number 1 point, number 2 point, number 3 point. And as it breaks this, touches the number 2 point and shows strength, that's what we'd be the buy on. In all of these alts, in every different one, in every different pattern, I don't care if you're looking at silver, I don't care if you're looking at wheat, oat, corn, soybeans, or if you're looking at Kyber network token or Link, all of them will follow that similar pattern. This was a real killer, speaking of Link. This was a brutal one to have tried to trade as an entry here because of how it just whipsawed back and forth. Crazy killer entry. We found some really much cleaner entries in this market earlier. Way back here and here, I do believe. It might have been here, these two right there, and not this one. We got some of those way back earlier. And then I sold out a little early on this. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look now. But I'm not in it right now. This didn't give me a clean enough signal. And if I did, I would have got kicked out and then I wouldn't have bought in on any of these moves. It's too wild for my pattern. It doesn't fit my pattern. This right there fits my pattern. And I would have taken that and got a nice clean entry. That's my pattern. This right there is my pattern. But this wasn't clean enough. NAV has given us the capitulation low beginning. If you're looking for the capitulation lows, they're going to have 3 criteria. First of all, we have the parabolic down move, which means that we have increasingly deeper slope. This slope, then this slope, then this slope are all deeper and deeper and deeper. That's the parabolic. It's a parabola shape, mathematics, something or other. Then it bounces up. This is our second piece of the puzzle that we're looking for. And then the third piece of the puzzle that I'm expecting, it'll be some sort of variation of a consolidation for at least a week of period of time. And I could be wrong. There's some sort of variation of this that it has to consolidate into something. And then a break above that would be our verification that we actually have a bottom and turning higher. So it is a variation of that. Wait for the breakout, wait for it to come back and retest, and then on strength, it gives us our verification for the buy. Maybe on strength above this technical level here, we would wait for the breakout and the confirmation of that. And so it's quite a ways away for that to give us that signal. And many of these markets are like that. And so we can come up with a system. We know we can go through all these markets, and I do with the alerts service on digitalcurrencytraders.com. We go through all of these markets and we identify this pattern to say, when does it trigger? When is it coming? Because we know we have the break of the downtrend line. We have the number 1 point here. We have the number 2 point. It's coming down. It's going to give us a potential number 3 point. We know we're at historically significant levels like we've never been before in alts. It's the time to err on the side of taking the risk. Or planning to take that risk, if I clear all this stuff off, planning to take that risk on the breakout when we have the pullback and strength. So we know our plan. We know in advance of what we're going to do. We're going to put on a little bit of our trade here because we're going to assume that it's going to be another fake out breakout and go down further. We're just going to be really protective, put on a little wee bit of our trade. As prices do go higher, now we can move our stop loss just above our entry and wait. Prices are going to come back, right? They're going to do a consolidation sometime after on the trend. And as they're doing this, we would look to add on the second part of our trade. As it's consolidating and starting to show strength, we would say, oh, look at that. It is continuing to go. Let me now add on. And I could, if I put on 20% here, I'm up a little bit of profit, I could put on a bigger position here. And if it went against me, I still have all of this profit here to protect me against actually losing money, against my net beginning. But if this proves me correct now, I'm doing really good because I'm much bigger on a trade where I'm correct. I'm going to make a much bigger profit now that I am correct. This is great. And all of my entries would have been very small and very small losses because I didn't put my full trade on. So this staging, it takes that perspective that it's going to take months to set this up. I can tell you the whole story here, and then it's going to be autumn and the leaves falling off the tree when we get to put the add-on there. And you're going to forget unless you have this plan way in advance so that you're doing this without thinking about it. You've gone over it so many times. You've dreamt about this. You know how you're going to make your $1 million in crypto. And I can't wait to hear the success stories. I can't wait to hear it. This isn't my system. And that's why I can share it with such confidence and absolute knowledge that it works way better than I can work it. One of the reasons I do the alert service is sharpening my skills. There's our major downtrend line. It's our potential 1, 2, 3 bottom. This is where I would be watching for that turnaround. And again, there's no history. There's no historical lows that we're coming down to. So that's not my favorite. I don't know how far down it could go. Not a couple hundred more Satoshi, but percentage-wise, that's killer. So I can't touch this. It's got to make a bottom and turn around and show me that it's going the other direction. That's all the time I could give a market like this. I give it that much time. Say, it doesn't give me the 1, 2, 3 bottom. There's no way it's going to give me a crossover, the exponential moving average. It's got a long ways to go to give me the bottom I need. And it could blast off. But I'm not going to be jumping on that because we know it's likely going to be pulling back. It hasn't established a good base. This hasn't established a good base yet. So we can quickly go through most of these markets and say it's not established good base. And if we start zooming in and see what Bitcoin has been doing to it, percentage-wise, pretty strong there. Continue to watch this through the evening. When I get up tomorrow morning, I'll be checking all these alts to see how they are splitting against the pressure of Bitcoin, to see how these new bottoms that we're seeing setting up after this huge move down, are we going to make a bottom and start to follow Bitcoin? If we are, it's going to be fast. If we go to XLM, look at what it did when it started to go along and it switched. It started to go with Bitcoin on, what's the date? The 13th of May. So I'm watching to see, are the alts now going with Bitcoin? Are we going against Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin crushing us as it goes up? Not as much. I think the alts are resisting it. The initial panic is there, but then the overall market says, I ain't selling mine. Are you selling your? I ain't selling mine. And here's as we get into this top formation, is this going to turn into an ascending wedge triangle and blast way higher? If we go to the 5-year view, it certainly has room to go higher. And this market specifically has evolved so much. They have done so many new partnerships for being able to use this in financial transactions around the world, in inside apps. And the alt world is going crazy. And we've got to be ready for these add-on positions, and especially to be protected against the volatility. As Bitcoin dominance is going up, alts are going to be slipping back, even though we see altcoin market cap going up. That Bitcoin dominance is pushing some of these main alts back. And I don't know the answer. I want it to be that the alts are going to come up with Bitcoin. We can see that the US dollar value is going up with Bitcoin. We're in happy days. Let me see where. Do you think there will be a pullback? Am I hyped for the 2020 halvening? No, I'm not hyped for the halvening. I don't know how high it'll go. I look for my chart formation and buy, and I think it's gonna. I don't know the halvening. I think that's just internal hype for the Bitcoiners. I don't know. But the chart pattern will tell us. Overall, I think that Bitcoin's going to be going so much up. Like, you could sell everything you own and put it into Bitcoin. And don't take that as financial advice. But really, if in 2015 we'd known what was going to happen from there till now, Bitcoin was $250 each. It would have been worth selling your home and putting it into Bitcoin. It would have been worth selling your car and taking the bus and putting that money into Bitcoin. Hindsight is so wonderful. But since it's already shown us that once, it's coming. And in all of the alts, it's going to be something bigger than we were expecting. Everybody's saying it's going to be big, but it's going to be jaw-dropping. Nobody expected what we saw in Bitcoin. If in September of 2015, when Bitcoin was $250, if I'd have said it's going to hit 22,500, people shook their heads in like you're being dramatic. So we are going to see things that are unexpected. And I haven't seen anybody, I don't watch a lot of other people's prediction videos because I have my own system that I want to practice and perfect. And I see other people doing stuff and I go, okay, I just don't get it. A lot of the technical analysis is contradictory and confusing and difficult and doesn't make a clear sense to me. When I put all of these together into this plan, it just makes so simple sense to me. I have to follow along with it. So this is why I do the videos. But watching other people, I see predictions going up into the mid ranges of where we have already been. And I think we'll be going past that. And we're just breaking out now. So pullback levels, I'll do the same as everybody else. Well, there's no pullback levels here. This is the beginning of the exponential move upward. And this was just a small pullback on the trend upward. So we could draw the trend line continuing up. I don't have as familiar of this one. Fibonacci retracement. Oh, pretty. Always look for something near the 50% or the 38.2-ish levels. Then look for technical support in the levels that are near that, and that's where we match ourselves up. But 50% rule always. 50% of what it's done recently. And then you can just do your Fibonacci's over and over again until you get it matching just perfect. And there, right to the 50% level. Perfect. There's the significant move is right there. That's what we say. By finding it just where it makes it up perfectly to what we want to see. There we go. You can always draw a Fibonacci where you want. Grab this. I have trouble clearing these charts off. There we go. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. I think that alts are going to come up. Alts are going to come up. We're not, although they're pulling back as Bitcoin is moving off, they're not going to be staying back. We're seeing everything moving. This is a general takeoff everywhere. And we saw that on the 13th of May. All of the alts are hitting that as a bottom. So we go to TRX and we go to the 13th of May. Zoom into the 1 week view. There's the 13th, 14th of May. 1, 2, 3 bottom formation right there. Randomly QSP. What do you do? 14th of May. 1, 2, 3 bottom formation right there. Gives us our 1, 2. Now we're watching for this to build the 1, 2, 3 bottom. I don't even know this market. S something or other. 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, just breaking higher and pulling back. So on a breakout of that, we could be watching. All of these are, I doubt that Pivx is, yeah, even Pivx. Look at that on the same day. OST, same day. So this is significant, huge. What time frame before the major run? We are starting the major run. Don't sell now. Don't sell if you're holding a winner. Move your stop loss under. Don't sell now. We're waiting for a top formation confirmation and a moving average crossover on the other side. You're going to wait till after it tops out to sell. Don't sell on the way up. I'll repeat that again. You're going to sell after the top. Let's go back to Bitcoin. And of course, don't take this as financial advice. Bitcoin US dollar. 1 year view. Pull it back. Even if I was waiting for the 1 day exponential moving averages to cross over in the 2060 time frame, this gets me out at 12,000 odd dollars. Very good compared to everybody else. So if I zoom into the 12 hour and pull this back, so we go back to that time frame. Now the exponential moving average crossover is getting us out right at the shoulder of this top formation. Like, it's just obvious technical levels that I would be in denial of if I didn't have these crossovers. I would say it's gonna look, it resisted all this time. It's gonna, but the crossover is a slap in the face, like cold water splashed on you. You got to pay attention to it because it is so reliable. So you're gonna wait until this crossover happens. So it's gonna be after the top. This is my strategy, so that I am not going to be getting out too soon and then watch the market take off on me. Panic on this and sell right here, and then the market takes off. I've got to give it enough room now. Once it's profitable, you're using somebody else's money. You can take greater risks with the money that you're profitable on than the initial parts of the trade. That has to be super risk adverse. Once you're profitable, once you have that cushion of trade above, leave your stop loss. For my own part, I want to leave my stop losses back so that I am there for this big run that is going to be coming, and nobody can tell you when. Nobody knows when. I would say it's starting. I would say that this is the resistance of this and rejection of going lower from now. That's a huge move. Let's see here. Remember, April 1st, alts were making a bull flag, but the flag failed. Most alts were making another bull flag right now. And if push is high, all bull flags will fail again. Indeed, the bull flags will fail again. We'll see all of those things cracking, and we'll see everything going to new lows. And if Bitcoin dominance is surging higher, that is the measure that altcoins are suffering. Even though we'll probably see the altcoin market cap going up. Their US dollar value is going up, but their value versus Bitcoin is going down. And so at that time, instead of holding Ethereum for these minutes here, it would have been better to be holding Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's going up faster than Ethereum. Even though if we look at the price of Ethereum is going up US dollar, maybe I don't want to sell my Ethereum, it's actually going up. And it's just a matter of patience, because I believe that Ethereum is going to go up to $500 US in the next week, 2 weeks. Like, it's on its way. We've already started to move up. Everything is pointing to that the technical levels, the huge bottom formation here, it's going to be going way higher. And so I think that overall, Ethereum will actually outperform Bitcoin. And I'm going to go to this chart and pull up Ethereum versus Bitcoin over the last year, so that we can see how Bitcoin has outperformed Ethereum relative to the bottom formations they both just made. So Bitcoin has already taken its move up big time. Now I'm going to go to Bitfinex, get rid of this so that I can bring up Ethereum US dollar here. Ethereum US dollar. Look at how Bitcoin has taken off. And Ethereum is making a very similar bottom formation, but held back because Bitcoin was taking off and Bitcoin dominance was going up. So even though Bitcoin was going up and this was being held back, it's now starting to blast off and it will have as much move as Bitcoin did. And I think Bitcoin will continue going up, but this is going to go up faster, which for me means that Ethereum versus Bitcoin is going to gain better than what it is right now. And here it's starting to pick up. And I can't call every tick like that on a 5-minute bar evidence that it's going my way, but it has to do that at least, and then break above these levels out of this formation to prove me right. That's my theory. And I had that theory before, and I held and held and held as my theory was not proven correct. But so that's why I do these videos, so that I can be studying this. And if you think I'm crazy and you think I'm wrong on this, then you guys get to write the comments on here. You get to put on there. And then it helps me for sure. That kind of feedback helps everybody who's watching it. Sometimes the comments under the videos after the video is done is more valuable than the entire video itself, because somebody has corrected me on some statement I made that was either against my trading plan. And if I'm saying something against my trading plan, it's going to go wrong. And my trading plan is available on the website. You can go and download it for free. Get that free chapter over on digitalcurrencytraders.com. Click on the link in the description down below to go to the website. Download that free chapter. Join us on Discord. We talk about cryptocurrency trading all day and all night long. We've got people from Australia. We've got people from India. We've got people from the Netherlands, all over the States and Canada. Come and join us. We'd be happy to have you there. Well, I'm going to sign off for now. This is past my bedtime. I'm glad things are going my way in these trades. This is very nice. Much easier to go to sleep. I don't have to wake up and check my charts to see if it's breaking my stops or where I should be getting out. I appreciate you guys being here. Nice small group. Thanks for the questions. Nice long stream. Fantastic to record these details as it's unfolding. It is so awesome. These are such exciting days. Fantastic. This is going to be amazing to wake up to. Maybe I'll just get up to check the charts to see how much things are going my way. Cheers for now, guys. All the best in your cryptocurrency trading.